Welcome to My name is Luke Pace, and welcome back to everybody who's already a subscriber to the channel. If you're not already a subscriber, please subscribe so you can see more great interviews, including the one coming at you right now. The intro is going to be long because this man is an undefeated amateur MMA fighter with a record of 4-0, about ready to fight for 247 Fighting Championships featherweight amateur belt on October 26th. Super excited for that to be coming up. And he is also the 2021 Division II National Wrestling Champion. He goes by the name Luke the Martian Martin. Champ, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me again, man. It's always an honor.
It's always great having you on the show. I've had the privilege of interviewing you before your amateur debut, and I just love the fact that I've been following you all the way through. You've got that fight coming up now in under 2 weeks for Brawl in the Burgh 24 for 247 Fighting Championships. I refer to you as champ because of the wrestling champ, the national title, but you're about ready to be fighting for the belt. We'll cover a lot, but just jump in. How excited are you to be fighting for 247? You had a previous debut that ended up not happening. You had weighed in and it just got canceled last minute. So what does it feel like to be fighting for 247 for the first time and also for the belt here in under 2 weeks?
Uh, it's exciting, man. I'm excited to get in the 247 cage. I've been to pretty much all the events that they've had since I moved to Pittsburgh, since I've had a lot of friends on the cards and stuff. But I'm excited to get out there in front of a lot of the stout guys and a lot of the guys I train with, because all my fights have been away, so this is kind of my first home game. So I'm excited to get out there in front of a lot of my training partners and stuff like that. And for the belt, you know, I'm excited and I'm pumped about it. It was Lucas's belt. Then he went pro, so I'm excited to keep it in the gym.
And let's talk a little bit about that lineage. Lucas the Sniper Siebert's now an undefeated pro, was an undefeated amateur. Followed, was a big part of why you're up there. He came out of West Virginia University as a wrestler, went up to Stout, has really become, Pittsburgh's face of MMA. You're also up and coming as well as far as young talent. Obviously, you've got Kama and some other legends. But what does it mean a little extra for you to be fighting for the belt that Luke fought and won and then only didn't defend because he went pro? What does that like lineage mean to you?
Um, it means a lot, but also, it's just another fight. It's just a fight at the end of the day. We're just gonna fight, and then the winner gets a cool belt for this one. And it's an honor to be considered a champion. Even if it is, amateur MMA, it's still an honor to be a champion. But yeah, it's just a fight. I mean, I don't think I'm gonna fight any harder because there's a belt on the line, and I'm gonna fight just as hard if there wasn't a belt. But it's cool to keep it at stout. I think we have the best 145 pounders around, especially in Pittsburgh. So yeah, I think it means a lot to keep it at stout. And maybe after I get it, we'll keep it in the gym for the next guy too. So I'm excited.
Yeah, that is really exciting. What Stout is doing, I like to bring this up when I have anybody from Stout Pittsburgh. 247 Fighting Championships has had 2 years worth of yearly awards, which are really exciting. They'll be coming up at the end of this year to wrap up 2024. And 2 out of 2 times now, Stout Pittsburgh is the gym of the year through the voting of 247 Fighting Championships and also the coaches of the year. So what's it been like? We'll talk about the fact that you're almost 1 year into being an amateur fighter as far as taking fights goes. And we'll get to that in a second. But what does it feel like to just be connected to the gym, to be under Coach Will and Coach Mike as far as your development is going?
As far as my development, it's great. Mike and Will do a great job of pointing me in the right direction all the time, and advice. We're gonna fight this day. We're gonna keep fighting. We're gonna take this fight on this day. is what we want you to do for training. After my last fight, um, we actually talked and kind of laid out a plan, training wise, that we were going to kind of change up some stuff about what we were doing going into the last fight and going into this one. So he literally gave me like a whole schedule, of exactly what I'm going to be doing every single day. Mike did. So, that's great having that. I don't take it lightly. I feel like a lot of gyms don't really have that, so I'm happy that I get that. And even more than just my coaches, like guys around me that I'm training with, we all do a great job of helping each other in that sense, in terms of like development, what we think about certain fights and what we think maybe each other needs to work on, things like that. I think we do a really good job of helping each other out. Coaches, training partners, everybody does a great job.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously, you have the experience on the wrestling side. Stout's already been known for the wrestling and the grappling and a lot of jiu-jitsu, and having a former national champ and former Division 1 wrestler, former Division 2 national champ, obviously also up there with Sniper, as we've said. Lot of great experience. You mentioned your last fight. Now, Coach Mike Wilkins came up with a game plan after the last fight. Talk a little bit about, a great win. You're now 4-0, and you got it over a guy who was 4-0. You were 3-0 coming in that fight. He was 4-0. Obviously, your best, I would say, not only on paper but also probably talent-wise, your best MMA opponent, just as you were starting to build your record up there. And you're also fighting for LFA, which is a fairly obviously well-known big time promotion. So what do you think that coming off that win over Devin, how do you think that sets up? Do you believe, and obviously you've been a high level wrestler, do you believe in kind of building momentum, or do you think it's all just about kind of what you do per fighter per match?
I think I learn a lot, every single fight, and I get a whole lot better every single fight. But for the last fight, I really wanted to finish, and I didn't get it. And immediately, like right out of the cage, I won, and I was happy that I won and stuff like that. But when I came out of the cage, first thing I said to Mike was like, I'm just kind of disappointed. I really wanted to get the finish there. As an amateur, I think it's really important for me to strive for finishes. And when I go pro, the UFC wants guys to finish people. And I want to be in the UFC. So I gotta finish people. And I'm, I'm looking to finish all my fights from here on out. So that was kind of a main point of getting out of that last fight. What we're gonna look at going into this fight was kind of just minor details, some things I needed to change, some certain positions that needed work, certain parts of my game that weren't holes, but just opportunities to finish that I didn't take, that I'm going to take this time.
Well, that makes sense. That's a great part of having an incredible coaching duo, and also you being the high level. And I would say same thing about Sniper and a whole bunch of other people, not just singling you out, but that high level fight IQ where your brain wants to improve, and wants to kind of see better ways and better options to do things, which I think is really fantastic. You mentioned that the UFC really looks for finishes, something that has really brought up, and I hope a lot of people watch the Contender Series. I think it's probably one of the best ones out there. I think Tough has really gone by the wayside, but it still can produce some great people. But one of the things that's so interesting about Contender is that's what they bring up over and over again. Those are all pros, but they bring up the finish percentage prior to coming on the Contender Series. And so that matters. That when someone goes pro, obviously Luke's doing it right now. Just a little bit ahead of you is the other Luke, is the idea of winning, but also doing everything you possibly can in those 15 minutes at the pro level to win by finish, because obviously that then propels a quicker route to UFC. Let's talk about your opponent. He has got a great record. I think that's one thing that you would always look for. And I know 247, the matchmakers out of 247 are always looking to put on incredible fights. Alex Rios, 4-1 in MMA and 2-0 in Muay Thai. What made you say yes to this matchup? Is this somebody that you've done some research on and kind of kind of know kind of his style, or is it just you're always willing to take somebody that's going to push you and bring out the best of you at a championship level?
Um, I think, I am a high level wrestler, but I also think that I'm a high level competitor. So, if I wanted to go, find somebody that maybe would be like an easier fight or like has a worse record or something like that, I'm sure I could, but I want guys that have the same goals as me. I'm sure he wants to be in the UFC. I'm sure he wants to be a world champion, and he has a 4-1 record. He's good. I've seen some of his fights, some of his like clips and stuff like that. I've seen some of it. I know what his style is. And I think he's gonna push me. And he's already been pushing me in the gym. Whether he knows that or not. I'm thinking about him in the gym. So in that aspect. And I only want to fight guys that are gonna push me, and I want to go out there and finish them. That way when I go pro, I'm used to finishing guys. I want to go out. I want to go out on October 26th and get a finish against a tough guy. If I wanted to go out there and lay on him for however long, 3 minutes every round, like if I wanted to go out there and lay on him, I'm sure I could. But that's not how I want to fight. I want to be a finisher. So I'm looking to finish this fight.
And I think that's what's exciting about you. It's also a great matchup against a guy who 3 out of his 4 MMA wins have come by finish, 2 by submission and 1 by knockout. So, and I think that's what, like you said, you're a competitor, and I'm sure he's the same way. I'm going to reach out to him, hopefully have an interview with him if he's willing to come on, because I think like I've often said this, and I know 247, the owner, Ryan Milton, has said this on his podcast and his show. Um, all amateur belts should matter. I think I've been to some promotions where they don't necessarily matter. Like the matchups aren't great and the records. I was to a promotion where there was a guy fighting for a belt as an amateur debut of 0-0. Just that type of stuff doesn't make sense. But what I do think that 247 really, Lucas the Sniper Siebert, is a great example of the talent level that he had to fight in Cam Moret Allgaier. And obviously, your opponent here is also an example of the fact that they have said over and over again, the 247 staff and owner has said that a 247 amateur belt means that you're obviously pro ready, that you're at that level. And I think Lucas has shown it, and obviously you're getting ready to show that. And I wish all the other promotions out there, I wish them the best. I think some don't care as much, but I know 247 really, they've said no to a lot of fights that I thought could have been title fights at the amateur level. And they try to really hold it to a high level. So for you on the 26th, you said it's kind of like you're fighting in front of your hometown crowd, a stout, heavy crowd, a Pittsburgh heavy crowd. You've obviously already said that you want the stoppage. Do you want to make a specific prediction, or is it really just about your prediction is that you're going to win by stoppage and show that will get to the UFC at some point? Is this like a trajectory fight, in other words?
Um, for a prediction, I think the only prediction I have is that I'm gonna come out and compete as hard as I can. Um, I'm sure Alex feels the same. I have respect for him as an opponent. I have respect for anybody that takes this fight. Especially right now as an amateur, there's a lot of guys that said no. There's a lot of guys that would rather fight somebody else, and I don't blame those guys. It's about development. If they don't want to fight me, I understand, but there's a certain type of person that takes a fight against somebody like me, with the credentials that I have and things like that. But I predict a good fight. I predict he's gonna come out hard. I'm gonna come out hard. We're gonna meet in the middle, and winner gonna take home the belt. So that's my prediction, I guess. Just a good fight.
That's what I love about you as a fighter. I think that's what really stout Pittsburgh is, as well as the Mad Factory, a bunch of other the academy. I don't want to crap on any Pittsburgh gym. I know Pittsburgh as a MMA community really wants to put on incredible shows. And then you guys are competitive because I know like it matters what gym you represent. Um, who who is either sponsoring you or people that you want to thank coming in to your title fight for 247. If you're not sponsored, I will just throw out there that people need to start beating down your door to sponsor you. But who do you want to thank coming into this title fight on October 26th for 247 Fighting Championship Brawl in the Burgh 24?
I have a couple sponsors. The first one that comes to mind is Longevity Life. It's a meal prep company. He helps fuel my fight camp. He sends me meals. Um, I put his logo on my shorts and stuff like that. I try to promote him as much as I can, and he does a great job. He's always available for me to call him and ask him questions. Whatever I need. Nutrition wise, he's always there. So I gotta thank him for that. Another one is Switch Custom Apparel, in Bridgeville. My guy Chris, he always helps me out with my shorts, that kind of stuff. He does a good job. But as far as sponsors go, those are really the only two that I have right now. That's not really something that I'm paying too much attention to. I'm just so focused on my development and training right now. Sponsors are great, and I'm always looking for more, but I'm not like out there like asking people to sponsor me right now. I will be in the future, but I mean, if anybody sees this and they want to sponsor me, feel free to contact me. But but right now I'm just so focused on my development, and I'm focused on fighting, and I want to fight back to back to back to back as much as I can. So yeah, shout out to them.
Well, I was planning on ending on the sponsor. That's a great, but I had remembered that I like dates and looking at dates. You made your official amateur. You had a couple that fell apart, but you made your official amateur first fight debut November 22nd, 2023. You will be fighting October 26th. So in under a year, calendar year, in under a year, it's going to be your fifth amateur fight. I was going to ask that, and so you mentioned about wanting to fight. Um, Talk to me a little bit about the mindset of the how often you'd want to fight MMA in a year. Clearly, I think you'd want to fight at least 5 times as you're fighting 5 times. And do you give credit to being that high level wrestler where in wrestling in tournaments you're going to have to compete at a high level multiple times a day, or do you think that's even more unique about you as a fighter and your mindset when it comes to MMA, wanting to literally take fights as I mean 5 fights in a year? I think is obviously quick turnover.
Um, like I said earlier, I'm a high level competitor. So, and I grew up wrestling 100 matches in a year, easy. So, and that's every weekend. And I just feel like I was kind of bred to just compete all the time. Whether that's, a great or a bad thing. I'm always looking for fights. I kind of feel like I only fought 5 times in the last year. I feel like I could have fought way more. Last year I coached wrestling throughout the winter. And I did a lot of wrestling stuff in the spring too. And I even fought a couple times during that, but I could have taken more fights. I kind of wish I would have taken more fights. And I'm not going to be coaching as much wrestling this year. So, we'll see what's going on after this fight, but I don't see why you can't fight and then take another fight in like a month if you're not hurt, or even less than that. If you're going to be in the gym, which, I'm going to be in the gym anyways. So what's stopping me from just going out and competing? I love to compete. I think something that gets lost in a lot of these guys is just being thankful to compete. I'm really grateful for the opportunity to compete, and I'm really grateful for 247 giving me this opportunity to fight for a championship. Um, yeah, I'm a championship level competitor, and I think that I really could have fought a lot more in the last year, and I only fought 5 times. That's kind of how I look at it.
It's a great mindset. That's that champion, like you talk about champion mindset. I can't wait to see what will happen. This is my plug for people to buy tickets from you. This is your Pittsburgh debut MMA fight for the belt for 247. They need to get tickets directly from you. They can also buy them from 247fighting.com and give you credit. Or if people are from all over that won't be coming in person, which I'm sure you have supporters and fans that are not going to, be close enough, then they need to go right now to the App Store and download any App Store on all devices and download 247 Live. I always am impressed when I get to say that 247 Fighting Championships has their own app. Download it. That gives you the pay-per-view. They can give you credit for the pay-per-view when they buy it, but it also allows them to have incredible definition on a TV or whatever smart device they have. And that's a really, really cool feature. So just shouting out for people to be able to support you that way, but also this is a fight to be in person for sure. To not only the excitement level, but also be able to say that they saw you. Because I think right now there are people running around local Pittsburgh MMA saying that they saw Lucas the Sniper Siebert get his title, and now he's an undefeated pro. And it's the same thing for you. It means something when they get to see somebody local that's going to be fighting MMA. Your plan is at the UFC level. I know that's Sniper's plan as well. So always an honor to have you on the show. Thanks so much for previewing it. October 26th, Brawl in the Burgh 24 for 247 Fighting Championships. Thanks so much. My name, as always, I haven't changed it yet, is Luke Payson from MMA Fancast, and I have had the 2021 former Division II National Wrestling Champ, Luke the Martian Martin, on the show. Thanks so much, champ.
Yeah, thanks for having me again, man. I appreciate it.
Always awesome. Thank you. Take care.
Yep, see ya.